Welcome to cebsar Talk. I am Evans Apia Kisi, the host of cebsar Talk. cebsar is Center for Better Society Advocacy and Research Africa. cebsar is a non-profit organization that believes in a better society begins with you and I. Hashtag a better society begins with me. For more information, please log on to www.cebsarafrica.org. Please follow us on the various social media platforms: YouTube, cebsar Talk, Facebook at cebsar Africa, Instagram, cebsar Africa, and Twitter at cebsar Africa. Like always, today, we bring you another interesting discussion on the topic security and safety in Ghana. And of recent times, there seems to be an increasing perception of higher levels of insecurity and concerns that safety is not even assured anymore in Ghana. For example, the activities of vigilante groups have been a bane in Ghana's politics. Issues of highway armed robbery persist. Violent attack on citizens by security persons and criminals is on the rampage. The impunity enjoyed by security persons and politicians is becoming unbearable. Meanwhile, peace and stability are essential for national development, and security generally is what enables people to create wealth necessary for personal and national progress. On this episode of cebsar Talk, we examine the state of insecurity in Ghana and provide strategic measures to improve security in our beloved motherland for a better society for all. And to help us discuss this is more like a one-on-one discussion with our own, he's a regular panelist here, Mr. Lord Edusei. He's currently a doctoral researcher at University of London School of Oriental and African Studies. He holds Master of Science from Stockholm University, Sweden. He holds Master of Science also from Swedish University of Agricultural Sciences, Sweden. And he also holds Bachelor of Science from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Ghana. His research focus lies in international development, policy, and biosecurity. It's always a pleasure to host you. Welcome once again to cebsar Talk, Mr. Lord Edusei.
It's my pleasure to be with you to host this show.
Great, thank you very much. And yeah, so for the next 1 hour, we'll engage Mr. Lord on safety and security issues in Ghana. And like I always say to our fellow cebsarians, we are of course streaming live on Facebook now. And so don't forget to keep your questions and comments coming. In case you're also not able to follow until the end of the program, don't worry. Later we would upload this on our YouTube channel. And if you've not yet subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our videos for us. So Lord, good to see you and good to host you.
I'm also good, happy to be with you on the show. First of all, I want to send you a big congratulations for the achievement. Having gone through 4 or 5 years of PhD studies is a milestone, and I want to congratulate you.
Thank you, I'm grateful. And perhaps I would also use this opportunity to express my gratitude to my many well-wishers on Facebook wishing me on my birthday. I celebrated that yesterday, and of course also the milestone, the achievement of defending my PhD successfully. I'm grateful to you, AK Mensa, for that wonderful post. I would have always kept it under the carpet, but thank you, AK Mensa. Great, so let's start the discussion, Lord. And briefly, if you could walk our audience through a brief account of the state of security in the country now. Do you think that the insecurity issue or issues, you feel they are on the ascendancy or descendancy? What's the state of security issues in Ghana at the moment?
Thank you. I think the best way for us to understand the security situation in Ghana is to look at, first of all, the sub-region, West Africa, and look at Africa. And by understanding the sub-region in Africa, we may be able to appreciate the security situation in Ghana. As you may be aware, there is a lot of security situation, insecurity in many parts of Africa. One of these areas is Libya, for instance. Another one is Somalia. If you come to Mali, where we have Tuareg rebels, a lot of terrorist organizations operating in Mali and Niger. If you go to northeastern Nigeria, where we have Boko Haram also operating from there. If we look at these scenarios or this security environment, we can say that Ghana at the moment is relatively a peaceful country. Peaceful in the sense that it has never experienced violence, what we call massive violence, since its independence. There's been political instability in the form of coup d'etats. If you go to northern part of Ghana, sometimes we do have ethnic land-related conflict, but on the whole, Ghana is relatively peaceful. There is a paper that was published by the Fund for Peace. The Fund for Peace is an organization that every year releases data on where there is peaceful coexistence between nations, where there is an atmosphere of peace. This Fund for Peace, which is based in the United States of America, every year that is what they do. They also look at what is called fragile countries, countries that are facing serious internal disruptions. One of these countries is Libya, as I said. Somalia has been one. If you come to Central Africa, the Central Africa region, we have Democratic Republic of Congo, which has also been one of the highly disruptive political environment in Africa. However, if you check the Fund for Peace release last year, Ghana is the most peaceful country in West Africa. When I say the most peaceful country in West Africa, I'm talking about the West African mainland, because Cape Verde, which is an island, is also part of Africa. But on the mainland West Africa, Ghana is the most peaceful country. In the whole of Africa, Ghana is the third most peaceful country. Mauritius is the most peaceful country, very stable, democratically functioning. Then followed by Cape Verde, and we have Botswana. Then followed by Ghana. So we have Mauritius, Cape Verde, Botswana, and Ghana. The four peaceful countries in Africa. On the mainland African continent, Botswana is the most peaceful, followed by Ghana. So if we look at these two issues, Botswana and Ghana, you can see that security or peace in Ghana is incomparable to some of the countries. Nigeria, for instance, is going through an internal disruptions, whether in the Middle Belt, whether in the North, or whether in the South. The same can be said about DR Congo, or even if you go to East Africa, we have Kenya, for instance. Kenya has been having several ethnic conflicts, which makes it difficult for Kenya to climb up when the Fund for Peace is analyzing security situation in Africa. So on the whole, Ghana is comparatively better.
Interesting.
But that doesn't mean that we don't have problems.
Okay.
However,
maybe before we come to that, sorry to cut in, just to help our audience as well. So you say that when you look at the Fund for Peace ratings or rankings, Ghana is, ranked as the most peaceful country in West Africa, inland.
Yeah.
And then also third in Africa. Could you help us? What is the main criteria for these forms of ranking? Is it only based on elections, so that because we've achieved successful democratic elections over the years, particularly in the Fourth Republic, if you compare our situation to other neighboring countries, is this the only indicator? What other indicators do they look at? You also rightly mentioned things of ethnicity, where you cited the example of Kenya. But so perhaps aside these two things, are these the only indicators for measuring peace in a particular country, or there are others?
They also look at freedom of the press.
Okay.
So in countries like Egypt, it is very difficult for the media to operate. For us in Ghana, though we've been having difficulties recently, it is relatively better than most other countries. So the freedom of the press is one. Another one is also the ability of the Ghanaian population to express their opinion. As you may be aware, a lot of Ghanaians are able to voice their concern to political leaders without serious repercussions. So that also forms part of the main criteria that the Fund for Peace also uses when ranking the countries. There are other, as you made mention of, our political situation, the way we change government is also important. There are some countries that governments cannot be changed democratically, and one of them is Mali recently. Another one is the way we also compete in election. Our election is very competitive, and both political parties are giving the platform to say or to make their case to the Ghanaian public, which in some cases do not happen, especially if you go to Kenya recently, when they had their last election. You could see that there were a lot of use of muzzles by the ruling government.
So
whereas in Ghana, it's not like that. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. But before you go ahead, because I know you were coming to the point where you wanted to say that, yes, globally, we seem to be ranked higher than most African countries. I mean, being third is no joke. I think that. So I know you were going to come to that, but what do you say to people who feel that we should probably move away from comparing ourselves to other African countries, because we want to be seen as one of the best, and if we want to be seen as such, we should perhaps start comparing ourselves to the developed countries that are usually ranked as more peaceful than we are. I don't know our position in the world, if you could tell us, but we could also let our producers check our position in the world for us. But if you have that, this would be great. But what do you say to people who feel that we should stop the African comparison and rather do a global comparison?
Honestly speaking, Ghana is ranked higher than most European countries.
Okay.
In 2017, for instance, Ghana was higher than Britain and France.
Interesting.
And Ghana has been consistently been higher than United States of America. So in the Scandinavian countries are always at the top. Germany, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Norway, they are always at the top. But United States, Britain, and France, Ghana has been out competing them. for the past three years. So in terms of peace, based on the analysis of the Fund for Peace and the ranking that they've been putting out over the last 4 or 5 years, Ghana has been doing very well, not only in Africa, but in the global ranking as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, I mean, you were going to come to the point where you started by where I actually came in, that yes, we are regarded as a peaceful country, and I mean the statistics show for that. But so what is accounting for the increase in the perception of higher insecurity in Ghana? Or could the citizens be exaggerating some of these things? Is it too political than we think? What's your opinion? Do you feel that there's indeed, I know we are not in Ghana though, but of course we read the news, we follow what's going on in Ghana, and there seems to be a perception of higher increase in insecurity. Is this the case? And if it is, what is accounting for that?
Once again, if we look at crime rate in Ghana, for every 100,000 in Ghana, it is 2.09. For every 100,000 population, if we are to look at the crime rate, it is 2.09. In Kenya, it is 4.5 to 4.9. In the whole West Africa sub-region, Ghana has the highest, whereby the highest means positive.
Better, yeah.
Better situation than any other West African country. And so we've come from a situation whereby we have been very peaceful, but because we have been peaceful and recently we've been having 1 or 2 situations compared to the previous situation, people begin to think that no, things are getting bad or things are getting worse. This is because previously, say 10, 20 years ago, murder was very low, armed robbery was very low, conflict here and there were very low. But recently, because of the heightened political tension in the country, as well as other factors such as unemployment in the country, and other factors such as the growing flow of arms in the country, people are beginning to think that insecurity in Ghana is on the higher side. And it is not an exaggeration, but it is also not correct, especially if you don't know what is happening in other jurisdictions. There's been some high-profile killings in Ghana. For instance, Ahmed Wallace was killed. Then Professor Bene, who was a
law lecturer,
yes, was also killed. Then we also have some
JB Danko, I think the MP, and then last year also the Infantiman MP was also killed.
Sure. So if you connect these dots, it gives you an impression that security situation in Ghana is becoming bad. That if we don't do something about it, we're going to be heading towards very unacceptable situation. But go to Nigeria, for instance. There has been kidnappings. I mean, kidnappings on a large scale. Boko Haram has been doing it. Other insurgents groups in Nigeria have been doing it. How many people have been kidnapped in Ghana over the past, say, 10 years, of the past 4 years, or the past 2 years? If you go to Nigeria also, you see that serious armed robbery involving the use of heavy guns, AK-47, double-barrel guns, shotguns, pistols. If you go to Nigeria, you also see the same scenario. But in Ghana, comparatively, the figures are very, very low. So that doesn't mean that what is happening in Ghana shouldn't give us concern. It should, because Nigeria didn't start from where they are just like that. It started from somewhere, and they never pursued the case. They never followed it, and they never tried to sort it out. And therefore, it developed from there. So Ghana, if we see one person or two persons being killed here and there, then we have to sit down, because if we don't do that, it may develop from a low problem to a very high problem. And when it does that, it affects even our political rankings in the world. It affects the way the global community sees us. It affects the way investors see us. It affects the way people who want to come to Ghana and do business, the way they see the country. So it is important that we confront whatever is causing this murder. And I will come to what is causing the problems. We have to confront it. And by confronting it, we may be able to sort of reduce or eliminate it completely if we can. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. And just a confirmation from our producer, what you said. He said in 2021, even in 2021, Ghana scored 1.796 according to the Peace Index, and defeated countries such as UK, South Korea, Argentina, China, Brazil, etc. So I think that we are doing well. We probably could, borrow the phrase from Koku Anyudo during the 2016 elections, that we are indeed in a comfortable lead. If you look at the Peace Index in Africa particularly, and even in the world, we are not doing bad at all. But I like one of your statements that you said, but because of the recent high-profile killings and also highway armed robbery cases that we've had. I think a sad one was last year. I don't know whether it was last year, on the highways of somewhere in the eastern region, where this pregnant woman and they were attacked. And I guess this is why this feeds into the higher perception of insecurity in Ghana. And you say that if we do not address this, we might feel that we are in a comfortable lead, but if we do not address this, it could be a recipe for disaster in other countries. But before we get to that part, which is very important, what measures we should put in place in order not to get there. You mentioned something, that there are certain causes, there are certain reasons. I mean, apart from this highway armed robbery, the increase in highway armed robbery cases, and also the killings of high-profile members, what are some of the other causes of these perception of high insecurity in Ghana that you want to share with us?
Ghana is a country surrounded by countries that are emerging from war. Cote d'Ivoire is one. Liberia, Sierra Leone, they've been coming. Okay, they came out from war somewhere in the early part of the 2000s. Senegal has had war within the Casamance province. So all these countries which have been involved in war, some of the weapons they used in these countries, because of our porous borders, some of the weapons have found their way into Ghana.
Interesting.
So these weapons are now circulating in the country, and people have been having access to them. So having access to these weapons, and given the situation in Ghana where we have a huge unemployment situation, a lot of these weapons are finding their way in the hands of criminals, unemployed youth who must survive. So then they are using some of these weapons to commit crime. So the war environment in West Africa is one. If you come to Ghana itself, 20,000 arms or weapons are produced in Ghana every single year. 20,000. They are produced illegally. If you go to Swami, for instance, Swami magazine, there is there are very few weapons that swarming people cannot do. They can copy AK-47, any type of rifle, they can do it. They built the technology, and the weapons that are manufactured in Ghana, according to information, reliable information, is more efficient than some of even the weapons that are brought from, say, Czech Republic or Serbia or some of these countries. So these weapons that are manufactured in Ghana, there is no the state has not been able to arrest people who have been manufacturing these weapons. And these weapons are also in circulation. So that is one aspect. Also in Ghana, about 5 companies have been given license to import weapons. And they import roughly 20,000 weapons in the country every single year. 20,000 weapons are imported legally. But when they import these weapons, only 5,500 is registered. The 14,500 never registered. So we don't know who is having those weapons. And if if a weapon is not registered, it can be used to commit a crime, and tracing it becomes very difficult. So that is one aspect. 20,000 weapons imported every single year. 200,000 weapons produced in Ghana every year. Porous borders allowing weapons from war-torn countries to enter the country. Another aspect is our military and police officers. Government of Ghana import weapons purposely for the use of the military and the police and other security agencies. But some of these agencies, some of the men working within this security establishment are so dishonest that the weapons given to them to guard and protect the country, sometimes they either sell it or they hire it out to criminals. So we have these weapons that are circulating in the country, either through any of these measures that I made mention of, are the ones causing the trouble or problems in the country. The highway armed robbery that we experience, the constant robbery that we find in some urban communities, Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, all these they are being committed by criminals who have access to these weapons. Apart from that, we also have Ghanaians who live abroad. Sometimes when they buy goods and they want to send it to Africa, they buy weapons and put them in their goods. Door-to-door business. People buy weapons and put them in their own stuff and ship it to Ghana. So when they ship it and they go to Ghana, they use these weapons for their own security. But sometimes they may give it to somebody and they may use it to commit crime. So we have so many weapons in the country. At the moment, 2.3 million weapons are circulating in Ghana.
Wow.
2.3 million. Every year, 200,000 illegally manufactured ones come into existence. 20,000 imported. Porous borders, so that is the problem. We need to actually tackle this issue, the weapon circulation, if we want to limit the killings and the robberies. If we are not able to do that, given the situation where we have a lot of boys and girls who have virtually nothing to do in the country, they are going to use it to commit crime. And that is why crime rate, though it is lower in Africa comparatively, it is still high in Ghana by historical account. If we are to look from the past, given the situation now, we are in a very terrible situation today than say 20, 30 years ago. Yes.
Interesting. This is very, very insightful and quite revealing, I must say. Wow. We produce 200,000 illegal guns.
Yes. And if you go to places like Kumasi, Pando, Asafo, Aguna Asafo in the central region, these are the places where they manufacture some of these sophisticated weapons. And Volta region, they have a history of manufacturing some of the best weapons in West Africa. And so if you go to Togo, it is possible that they took the weapons that some of these Togolese armed robbers are using come from Ghana, because it is a well-known fact that the weapons illegally manufactured in Ghana are very efficient, just like the ones being manufactured by Russia and other Eastern European countries.
I mean, it's very revealing, the things you're saying, and just a twist of it. I'm even wondering why government has even issued license to about, you said 3 companies or so that import,
5 companies, yes.
5 companies that import about 20,000
every single year.
Why do we even need to import weapons if you know, we have the expertise locally? They can manufacture this. Perhaps it's also one area that government should look at, you know, resourcing these people so that they can regulate their activities very
exactly.
well. I'm sure probably this might be some of the solutions that you would prefer as we get to the second round. But thank you very much for your input so far. I must say, if you are joining us, if you are just joining us at cebsar Talk today, we are discussing safety and security in Ghana, and our guest is a regular panelist here, Mr. Lord Eduse, who has shared so much information regarding the higher increase in perception of insecurity in Ghana and the feeling that people are getting with issues around whether Ghana is still regarded as a peaceful or a safe country. And I must say that from the discussion so far, indeed, Ghana is a very peaceful country. It's a very safe country to live in. I mean, there are some isolated cases. Perhaps this is what is fueling the increase in perception, as he's explained, and also issues of the weaponization, if I could put it that way. Weapons enter the country left, right, center. Some of the avenues are really revealing. And I'm sure that it is not as if it is new. People are aware. I mean, if you pick Ghanaians, a lot of people are aware where these weapons come in. So how do we deal with this situation, Lord? How do we make sure that, I mean, I think this is one of them. The education that we are having here is to tell people that, yes, there are issues, but still people should guard their perceptions, you know, of insecurity and Ghana not being safe anymore. People should be aware that we are actually even doing better than the UK and South Korea and Argentina and other countries that you probably might think is safer to be. So generally, what do you think can be done? For example, how do we ensure that overall crime and safety is ensured? Just generally, let's start from the general, then later I could ask you some specific questions.
Okay, as I said, the crime in Ghana, critically, they're motivated by economic reasons. If you may remember, somewhere 1980s, Ghana undertook structural adjustment program. Part of this program called for the government to restructure their civil service. So about 300,000 people were, for instance, retrenched. They had nothing to do. They were asked to go home. Those people were added to the already unemployed people who were already in the country. Since that period, Ghana's economy has been growing. However, the growth of the economy and the employment situation, they are at they are at par.
Mm-hmm.
There is not a correspondence. For instance, if the economy is growing, there's assumption that it's supposed to be generating jobs for the citizens. However, Ghana's situation has been economic growth without development. So growth without development is producing a lot of youth unemployment. And with the youth being unemployed, with access to guns, there's definitely going to be problem with security. So the first thing is for us to look at our economy.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do so that most of the youth that we have in the country could be employed? If we are able to put in place economic policies that target the youth, and policies that ensure that the youth are employed. A gainful employed person may not think about going to commit crime with a gun.
Mm.
So that is where we must start from. Okay. Employing the youth, and that also begins. That also implies that we should look at the economic policy that we have been implementing over the years, so that if we are doing something wrong that is not generating the jobs, we should reverse it. Mm. And I think that Ghana, everybody who is who understands a little bit of global how economy functions or how countries have developed, understands that manufacturing is a critical sector. If you want to actually generate jobs, you should focus on manufacturing. Over the years, Ghana's manufacturing sector hasn't been working or performing positively. It's been declining. Currently, I think it's about 9%, which is not the best. So we should focus on the manufacturing sector. Factories should be set up everywhere, so that the youth coming out of school can easily be employed. Otherwise, you have university graduates who are going to be unemployed, and a hand that is doing nothing can actually cause harm. So that is one aspect. Another issue is we need to close the borders or police the borders well, because porous border with countries coming out of war, you cannot stop weapons from coming in. So we need to police our borders. What do we need to do practically is that we need to employ technology. Mm. Mount CCTVs all around the country's borders, so that we may be able to prevent people from smuggling weapons into the country. Another part is we have to also increase patrol, either military patrol, police patrol around the borders, so that we may be able to stop people coming into the country with guns. Burkina Faso, for instance, since Blaise Compaoré was demoted or removed from power, Burkina Faso has been very insecure. The Tuareg rebels in Niger and Mali, they've been operating with a lot of laxity, and they've been moving weapons from Niger, Mali to Burkina Faso, and we have a common border with Burkina Faso. So there's a certainty that some of these weapons will definitely enter the country. So we need to take care of the border with Burkina Faso, take care of the border with Togo, as well as Cote d'Ivoire, because Cote d'Ivoire is just emerging from war. And a lot of soldiers who participated in the war still have their guns. Mm. So that is another point, policing the borders. We also have to make sure that we demobilize the weapons within the country. How do we do it? Government should set an amnesty. Say that if you have got a gun, bring it out. If I've got an unregistered gun, a gun which is not registered, submit it to the government. We will pay you something, and then we will not harass you, we will not prosecute you. Amnesty. This will encourage a lot of people who still have guns to bring them out, and that will help to reduce the number of weapons in circulation. And so amnesty can also help greatly.
That's an interesting point, but just thinking out loud that, and this should be done within a particular time frame, right? If not, people would always produce guns and send it to the government to receive money.
Exactly. So you say maybe 5 months between, say, June and December. If you have got a gun with you, bring it out. We will not harass you. We may even pay you something, and then the government will take these guns and destroy them. So by removing the quantity of guns from the system, it may impact positively on the security of the country, because then very few people will have access to the guns, and then we could use them to commit crime. Yes, but there are the other.
Sure. So I want to come to a few specifics, but if not, thank you very much. I mean, you've highlighted very important points here. So basically, if we're able to improve our economic situation to enhance economic development, this is key. And I also like the fact that you brought in this manufacturing bit. That's why I think for some of us, even though the one district, one factory promise was very ambitious, in my opinion, but I think if they had looked at it very well, maybe it's not too late. If they could come, with a very comprehensive policy. Well, not necessarily every district, but even looking at every region, or I think this would be good. We really need industries. I don't know how far we've gone with that 1D, 1F, but the last time I checked, it appears that we had about 50 plus or 60 plus industries. But I'm sure people will ask the question, industry anyway, and what are they? But I think government is also doing well in that regard, though. And then
and I think that with the weapons being manufactured inside Ghana itself, if the government develops a critical policy, we can become legally weapon producing country, and that can help our economy. If we allow illegality to go on, it impacts negatively. All these people buying the weapon, they are not paying taxes. People receiving the money, they are not paying taxes. So we can legitimize the production of these weapons. We give license to people to produce them. And therefore, we may be able to know how many weapons this person has produced, or this person has produced, so that we can track who is also buying them. So we can legitimize the illegal production of these weapons by making by giving these people who are producing these weapons a license. That will help them to see if you operate in an environment of insecurity, whereby I could be arrested. If you go to Swami and then ask people producing arms, they will tell you this person is producing arms.
True.
They'll set up front businesses. They may tell you, I am a carpenter here, or I am a welder here, but that is a front business. What they are doing actually is producing arms. So if we give them license, they will stop this front business thing, openly produce the arms. Government will be able to track it, and then it can be sold to whoever needs it. And profit will be made, employment will be generated, and the country will be able to sustain itself and also preventing crime. Yeah,
I mean, absolutely, it's a brilliant point, and I pray that we will get there one day where we would involve local people. There are a lot of economic activities, like we've had a discussion on this show before, for example, with Galamsey. It's difficult to criminalize an economic activity. They are not doing certain things right, we admit that. But so if you regulate it, then it will become proper. I mean, nobody can regulate armed robbery. This is purely criminal, you know, but you can regulate galamsey, you can regulate the production of weapons. And I think that then it becomes an economic activity that would be helpful. And I think one way to do it would be to involve the local people. Like you said, the local people are aware of all those who are manufacturing this. So if you would involve them and regulate it, and the issue of the amnesty that you talked about, I think this could also be helpful. Because of time, let me ask you a few specific questions, even though generally the points you raise seem to tackle almost everything. But for example, beyond checking or regulating our weapons, improving employment issues and the likes, specifically for highway armed robbery cases, I mean, what else would you suggest? We know Ghana has been doing well where the buses that travel at night, I think usually there's one police officer or two police officers, one in front, one at the back also. I'm not too sure, but this is something that is being practiced. But yet still, there's the increased situation of highway armed robbery. So for transportation crime, what else would you suggest that should be done to be able to avoid it beyond the main structural problem of regulating arms and improving the economic situation in Ghana?
I think one strategy that could be adopted is the transport owners themselves taking the pain to install CCTV cameras within the buses. If an armed robber stops a bus, he may want to come in to collect money from whoever is inside the bus. So if you have cameras, and the cameras shouldn't just be placed inside, you should have cameras outside the buses so that it will be filming some of the activities going on, whether either within the bus or outside. If somebody with a gun comes in, he is recorded. And then police will be able to use the information from this recording to track them. If I know that I'm being recorded while performing something, I may be very careful. And if criminals know that they are being recorded, some of them will think twice before mounting, going on a journey of armed robbery. That is one aspect. On the other aspect is that there should be police presence, increased police presence on the roads. If you know that maybe from Kumasi to Mampong, the road, armed robbers have been very rampant operating there. Increase the presence of police over there. Armed robbers know that if police are on this road, they may avoid it. Even if they are not going to avoid it, they may think twice before mounting operation and operation. So I think that with the transportation sector, police presence should be increased. The Kumasi, Tamale, all those roads. But also not increasing the police presence alone wouldn't also help. The police themselves, the police sector, we know that some of them have been cooperating with armed robbers. Some sell guns or hire their guns to these armed robbers. So there should be some kind of professionalism within the police establishment itself. People employed in the police service should be checked. Their background should be checked. Don't just employ anybody. Check their background. If their background doesn't fit, if a person's background doesn't fit the work that you are employing him to do, don't employ him. So if you do the background check, you may know that, okay, this person was a criminal or he was involved in this kind of, and any sign of that, you shouldn't employ that person. So that these security agencies will become agencies of honest men and women, not just anybody. So a background check is very important. And also paying the police well to do their job is also very important. You can't send a police officer, pay him $100, and then when he goes to work, somebody offers him $3,000. I mean, he will collect it.
Absolutely.
And so we need to pay them well, resource them well, so that they can also patrol the roads. They don't have, some of them don't have vehicles to even operate. We need to resource them well. If we are actually interested in maintaining security on our roads, we need to resource them well. And we have Katanka, the Ghanaian automobile manufacturer. Government can go into contract with them, produce cars, customized cars for our police, and he'll be able to do that. This shouldn't be difficult, but it has to come from a policy angle where the government will say, okay, we are having this policy to make sure I remember when Kufuor came into power 2001, there were a lot of, there were a lot of cars for the police. This should continue because armed robbers fear police when they see them patrolling the roads.
Absolutely. Talking about Katanga, I think if I'm not wrong, but correct me, producer, I think he recently donated some amount of cars to the security service. I'm not too sure, but maybe producers could check that. But that's also a brilliant point there. But let's look at one other thing. So you've dealt with transportation, which is also one of the major challenges that we face, causing an increase in the insecurity perceptions that we have. But what about political and ethnic violence? I mean, so far so good. I think we are doing well. No wonder. These are major indicators that feed into the peace index. So we are doing well. But what else? What should we continue to do or not to do in order not to end up in some of these political and ethnic violence that also feeds into the perception of insecurity in a particular country?
I think one thing Ghana has done well, better than its neighbors, is how we respond to inter-ethnic and intra-ethnic problems.
The conflicts that usually
yes, we are very good at that, at responding quickly. So government should continue. We should map out all the areas in the country where we have problems. If you remember, in early 1990s, there was ethnic conflict in the north. Dagomba, Gonja, they were actually fighting. You also remember when the king of Dagom also was murdered needlessly. And then also, if you remember, the Inkunya conflict. Yes, these are conflicts that they added to the perception that all is not well in Ghana. However, the government in power at the time, and since then, they've been able to prevent large-scale conflict, large-scale violence. However, they should continue to monitor and then talk to the warring parties, because if there's an issue and it's not addressed, you are likely to have the problem escalating, and once the problem escalates, your ability to arrest it becomes difficult. So government should continue to monitor all the hotspots. Most of the hotspots are in the north. And it has to do with land. And so land has become a major source of conflict. Chieftaincy is also one. Some of the conflicts in Ghana, if you look at it critically, land, chieftaincy. So government should sit down, get a team of people who understands the socio-political situation in these areas, talk to the people, then find amicable solution to the problems. If it is land, no, we are all Ghanaians.
Mm-hmm.
Let people sit down and talk. Because when people are not talking, sitting down and talking, it generates a whole lot of miscommunication. But when people sit down and talk, voice out their concern, it is able to bring a very serious situation. It calms a serious situation down. So government should continue to encourage dialogue between all ethnic groups, especially in areas where there are conflict. Another part is also chieftaincy dispute.
Mm-hmm.
I know we have regional houses of chiefs and whatever. They should actually be citizens. When I say be citizens, they shouldn't be biased. Mm-hmm. They should actually address the issues as it is. If there's a dispute between party A and party B, the leaders must sit them down, address it. There's no problem asking somebody to rule for 10 years and asking another person to continue, if that will bring peace. Because peace is all that we need. Without peace, there is no development. And that is why it is important that no matter what, Ghana should encourage the citizens to continue to live in peace. Because without peace, we know that without peace and security, you cannot produce anything. You can't export. Businesses cannot do anything. So peace and security is important. And if this chieftaincy dispute will disrupt our peace and security, then it is incumbent on government to sit down with the people, talk to them, and then address it. There are eminent people in Ghana who can actually contribute in solving chieftaincy dispute in the country. It is up to the government to call on their attention, and they will be able to perform.
Very true. These are very, very important points out there. So land chieftaincy, true. These are the major causes of conflicts, isolated pockets of conflicts that you find in Ghana. And so if we're able to deal with it, that's fine. I also appreciate the fact that you mentioned government has been up and doing, not just this government, but previous governments in addressing this conflicts that usually occurs in our country. And also, of course, the Peace Council. I know on this show we have pointed out a few of the deficiencies in the Peace Council, but they've also played a major role in building peace in Ghana. So another thing also which we've not actually talked about, but has also been a matter of concern in the last few months, I would say, if not the last few days. Perhaps also more of the issue of Caleb, the City FM presenter who was, if you like, manhandled by the security persons. How do we deal with such, impunity? There seems to be also some bit of impunity amongst, should I say, security officials and politicians. They often get away with some of these things. How do we address such issues in order to ensure or reduce that perception of insecurity in Ghana?
I think there are several angles where we can do that. But one thing, one of the most important one is employing people not on the basis of ethnicity, not on the basis of political affiliation, but on the basis of merit. If you recruit people who are just political hooligans and put them inside the security structures, you are not going to help the country. So I think that the first, where we should start our homework with regards to the impunity, is recruitment and training and professionalism. If you are trained, any security officer who is well trained, training is not only about how to shoot, but it is how to deal with the public. So we have something we call, for instance, military-civilian relation. If you're a military officer, the fact that you have gun doesn't mean you should go and shoot anyhow. People, you must respect the people, and then they too will respect you. You must also respect the Constitution. So recruiting people from a professional angle can contribute significantly in bringing this impunity to check. Another one is also making sure that there is independent organ that also makes sure the people employed within the security establishment go about their duties without molesting anybody. Here in Britain, we have what is called police conduct authority. When a police officer conduct him or herself out of law, he is quickly investigated. If he is found guilty, he may be demoted or even sacked to upright. So what should be done is that there should be an independent police conduct authority or security conduct authority that will be able to investigate and then sanction whoever commits crime or whoever takes the law into his or her hands. That alone can let people think when they are when they are in uniform and they are going about their duties. The media, I think that when the issue about Caleb, the reason why the government was even pressured to reassign the 4 soldiers or the 4 officers, police officers, was because the media was very forthright in informing the people. Yeah. So when the media also, when they do their job or do their work, it helps. It helps.
And maybe on this note, I also should add that, and not only their own. You know, if it's their own, then they find their voice and they are able to make the noise. I mean, this is positive noise, I would say. But they should also do the same for other citizens, so that not only if it's their own, because there are a lot of citizens who go through what he went through, but unfortunately do not have the voice. And so it ends up, increasing the impunity that we have.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. So the media shouldn't just focus on only when it affects them, then they pay attention. Exactly. But when it affects others, people, they don't. That shouldn't be the question.
Because of time, I'll ask my last question, but there's a question here from AK Mensa says, which part of Ghana are the weapons being produced? I think he answered that already, mostly the Ashanti, and the Volta region.
Yeah.
And Lord encourages the production of weapons in the country. Well, I don't know if you want to say something, but I mean, yes, weapons are produced in other countries, right? So just that they should be regulated, and so that they would be given license, then government could monitor the guns that are. But I don't know if you want to add something to it. He asked the question that, are you encouraging the production of weapons in Ghana?
Yeah, we have to understand that weapons per se are not bad things, because you can go on a hunting expedition, and you need guns to be able to do that. So weapons per se are not bad. We also know that we cannot 100% eliminate crime within the country. So therefore, if people have the means to acquire their own weapons for their own security, it is not bad. However, if you allow the illegality to continue, then you are not helping the wider population, because then those who are not, who cannot afford to buy the weapons themselves will be at the mercy of the armed robbers. So I think that we should encourage the production of weapons. We have army. Ghana's army, I think the total number is about 10,000 now. It is very professional army. We buy weapons so that they can function do their work effectively. When we send them to, say, Lebanon on peace mission, we support them. So if we have a local industrial base producing arms to sustain our military, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Countries all over the world, advanced countries from Britain to Germany, they all produce arms. Some of them, they sell it. some of them they use it purposely for their soldiers. That is a debate as to whether we should produce to export. But I think that if we produce to support our military, there's nothing wrong. Another point is, when we produce these weapons, it helps us to also develop the technology. Because weapon production, there's a lot of technology that go into it. Therefore, that technology can be transferred to other sectors, whereby our engineering capacity will be updated. If, for instance, in 1980, a guy from Lebanon came to Ghana. He went to magazine and requested for AK-47 to be made for him. A Ghanaian, one of these gunsmiths, people there, manufactured the guns for the guy. And he requested for 2. The next time he came asking for 4. So that means he respected the quality of the work that was given to him. He was very satisfied. So if a Ghanaian could do that, what about establishing a factory that can employ thousands or hundreds of people, and that it will help.
I was even amazed when you said we produce 200,000
every year illegally
guns every year. Meanwhile, we import 20,000. Anyway, there's a question here. I think also has been answered already, but it's important that you reiterate it for our listener. Abraham says that please kindly ask your expert on how Galamsey activities are security threats in Ghana, because there are numerous weapons in various illegal mining sites. And I suppose that's what you said about first the fact that our borders are polarized, and we share borders with countries that are just coming out of war, and so these weapons are being. But for me, even the fundamental thing is the 200,000 weapons that we produce locally. So that tells you that there's a lot of guns in Ghana. Yeah,
exactly.
Whether you want to react to it, that he says there are numerous weapons in various illegal mining sites, but perhaps how is Galamsey activities a security threat in Ghana?
It is a security threat in 2 ways. The first thing is what they mentioned, the weapons involved. Some of the boys involved in Galamsey activities have used weapons against security officers. So that alone is a problem. But from environmental security perspective, it is a threat, simply because we are destroying the water bodies. We are degrading the land. We are causing deforestation. These are all the forest itself is an ecosystem supporting different species of living organisms. So if we are destroying them, then the ability of the ecosystem to support all the other systems is going to be in doubt in future. So we have something we call environmental security. Land is involved, water is involved, food is involved. So when you are destroying the forest, when you are degrading the land with toxic chemicals, you are making the land unsupportive either now or in future of the population. So a time will come, all these communities where they are producing the Galamsey activities, they will become food insecure because the land has been degraded. The land is no more supporting food production. So that food has to be imported and brought to them. Therefore, Galamsey, irrespective of being an economic activity, also has a security dimension. And the national security dimension is the water destruction. When you destroy your water bodies, you are going to have problems in future if you want to produce commodities that require water. If you destroy your land, you are going to have problems with food production. If you destroy the environment, is polluting it. See, some of these chemicals being used to recycle the gold. they are finding the chemicals are finding its way in the water bodies. People are drinking it. The health implication is very high. People are developing nervous, going to have nervous problems. People are going to have heart problems, kidney problems because of the consumption of the contaminated water. So it's the cost that government is going to incur in treating these people in future is going to be very high. So when we put everything together, the environmental aspect, the water destruction, the food aspect, and the land itself, everything put together, it has a serious security implication for the country.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you very much. I think we would have to end it here now, but I will come to you and ask you of your concluding remark. But if you are just joining us and you just missed the show, don't worry. We would later upload this discussion like we always do actually on YouTube. And so if you follow us or you go to YouTube and you look for cebsar Talk on YouTube, you would see all our videos, and we would also later upload this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that automatically anytime we upload a video, you are alerted. And also don't forget to like and share the videos on YouTube for us. So your concluding remark, I wanted to ask you of a sensitive question of Ghana's threat to terrorism and the likes, but I don't know if you want to have a bite and then have a concluding remark to Ghanaians on perceptions of safety and security in Ghana.
I will remark by saying this: terrorism is a great danger to every country, especially fragile countries, countries in crisis, countries in the developing world, and especially countries that share border with war-torn countries or countries experiencing higher form of instability. So Ghana, for instance, we know that Cote d'Ivoire, over the past 5 years, they've had about 10 terrorist activities. Burkina Faso, over the last 2, 3, 4 years, they've had about more than 14 terrorism activities. Mali is one. Niger is one. If you go to Somalia, we have a lot. The East African sub-region is facing a lot of attacks from Al-Shabaab. In Nigeria and West Africa sub-region, we also have problems. So it is terrorism is a dangerous phenomenon, and therefore we need to look at it seriously. That is why I think that this the recent situation where in some of the schools they were asking our Muslim brothers not to do certain things that do not augur well for them. I think that we need to be very careful, because we know that in 2015 a Ghanaian was involved in terrorist activities in Libya. That guy was in KNUST.
Yeah.
So he was radicalized because of the experiences he had. So I think that in 2008, there was a situation at Addis Ababa where a boy called Gafuri Mohammed, he jumped from one of the buildings and then he died.
Yeah.
All these things do not augur well for Christian-Muslim relationship. So we need to be very careful. If we want to have coexistence, peaceful coexistence, as we have had over the years, we should tread carefully when we take certain decisions. So for instance, Wegehe, the recent issue about Wegehe saying that the Muslims shouldn't do that or should, I think that they shouldn't impose anything on anyone, because it has potential to cause problems. West Africa sits on a major terror, is surrounded by terrorism. Whether if you are looking at it from Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, we are surrounded by terrorists. And anything that will encourage them to attack should be discouraged. And that is what I will end. I think that Ghana is a peaceful country, but we shouldn't take our peacefulness for granted. There are certain things that we should continue to do to sustain the peace in a country. Unemployment should be looked at. Conflict areas like land disputes, we should look at it. Chieftaincy dispute, we should look at it. We should also restore the police well. We should make sure that political vigilantes like this data, the data for the Bamba boys, the Aluta boys, we don't need them. The politicians will understand that having them within our political system have serious security implications for the country. So we should nip all those things in the bud, and Ghana will continue to progress.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lord Edusei. And yes, so I want to reiterate his concluding remark that largely Ghana is really a peaceful country and Ghana is safe to live. However, we should not be too comfortable in the position that we occupy as being third most peaceful country in West Africa. Sorry, first in West Africa, third in Africa. And we are even doing better than some developed countries like UK and the rest. But there are still a few things that we need to do, particularly when it comes to police professionalism. We need to check that. I like one thing that you said. I wanted to chip in that usually when you recruit this vigilante groups into the security service, this is what you get. They manhandle people because of lack of professionalism.
Exactly.
I also want to add that even if they would be recruited, we should check that they are trained very well.
Exactly.
In order to ensure professionalism in their duties. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you just join us, because we would upload this video, and we have other interesting videos on our YouTube channel. It is when you just go to YouTube and say cebsar Talk, you would find most of our videos. Thank you very much for making time with us. I am Evans Apia Kisi, the host of cebsar Talk. Do make time with us next week as well. Bye-bye.
All right.